Once upon a time in bustling metropolitan city of Lagos, Nigeria, there was a girl called Elena who had always dreamed of her wedding day. She was happy to be marrying the man of her dreams, Richard. Though they only met 6 months ago. Back then he told her how his first wife died of cancer, and how heartbroken he was about it. He was kind, handsome, and made her feel safe. Everyone said they were the perfect couple. Richard was in a hurry to marry her. And the great thing about him was that he promised to wait till their wedding night before any form of intimacy. Being from a very strong Christian family, this was a big deal for Elena, who happily agreed to marry this amazing man. But then as their wedding day came closer, Elena started feeling strange. She didn't know why, but something just didn't feel right, though she couldn't explain what it was. She wasn't scared of getting married or having cold feet. She was just worried deep inside. The night before the wedding, Elena stayed at her sister Joy's house with her bridesmaids where they were to have her bridal shower party. Everyone was excited as Elena wore her wedding dress and looked beautiful, but the strange feeling in her heart didn't go away. All through the night she tried hard to shove the feeling away, but it only got worse and even made the party a very dull one. The next morning, being the day of the wedding, Elena woke up early. Her phone was full of messages from friends and family. It was supposed to be a very cheerful day for her, but she still felt nervous. Joy, her sister who had noticed something was wrong from last night and asked if she was okay. Elena said, "I don't know. I just feel strange." Joy smiled and said, "It's normal. You're just nervous. Everything will be fine. Honestly, you shouldn't allow this to ruin your wedding. Remember, men like Richard are hard to find." Elena smiled and nodded her head. "You're right, sister. I'm probably worrying myself over nothing. Now come and help me prepare. Hope the makeup artist is here." Joy answered yes, and immediately the mood shifted and they happily dressed her up. Within an hour, they were already in a special car heading towards the church. The church was full of people. The decorations were lovely, and the music played softly. Elena walked down the aisle in her beautiful dress. Richard stood at the altar, smiling at her. He whispered, "You look beautiful," and held her hand. But Elena's heart was still heavy. As the priest spoke, she found it hard to focus. That nagging voice in her head kept telling her to run, but every time she looked at Richard, his sweet smile would warm her heart and silence the voice. It finally worked, and before you knew it, she had forgotten all her worries and was already dancing and enjoying herself. Up on till she noticed that her best friend Charity wasn't at the party. Immediately her phone rang and Joy hurried over and gave it to her. She looked and saw a text from Charity. It said, "I need to talk to you. It's very important. Please meet me at the park. Right now." The urgency of the message immediately brought back the strange feeling that something was amiss. So she sneaked out of the party, got into a cab, and within minutes she arrived at the park, which wasn't too far from her wedding venue. There, she saw Charity waiting under a tree decorated with lights. Charity looked scared. This immediately increased Elena's fear. "Elena," she said, "you can't trust Richard. His first wife didn't die from cancer like he said. He killed her." Elena was shocked. "What do you mean? How can he kill his wife? Richard is sweet, loving and kind," she replied sharply. "That's what he looks like on the outside. He's a monster on the inside. I've been investigating him since I first overheard him on the phone with his brother. But I've yet to find any incriminating evidence aside from the doctor's report about his wife's death. She did not die of cancer. Look, Elena," Charity said, showing her a document. True to her words, the document showed the woman's autopsy reports. She did not die of cancer, but a blunt force trauma to her head. "How did you get this?" Elena asked, her heart racing with fear. I bribed the mortuary attendant who also carries out the autopsy. Elena, he didn't tell me everything he found out, just that. But the look in his eyes said he knew more. And guess what? He died the next day after giving me this evidence, Charity explained. Elena didn't know what to think. Everything felt like a bad dream. It's already late, Charity. My mom loves him. She said he's God sent. She'll never believe me till we have real proof, Elena said, wiping tears from her eyes. Charity immediately hugged her. Just trust me. I will get the evidence we need and we can use that to pull you away from him. For now. Just pretend everything is okay. Elena nodded her head, turned around and went back to the wedding. That night, in the hotel room, Elena pretended to be happy. Richard was gentle when he made love to her, but she felt nothing but fear. Her dream life was falling apart. She was married to someone who may actually be a monster. The weeks that followed, things got worse. Richard changed. He became angry and rude. Sometimes he was nice. Other times, he shouted at her and even threatened to hit her. She never knew which Richard she would see each day. His family was worse. They didn't treat her like she was part of the family. One day, Richard's sister Anita came into the dining room while Elena was having lunch and knocked the plate from Elena's hands and threw it on the floor. Oops. Sorry. Get on your knees and clean that up, Anita said, smiling wickedly. Elena felt hurt and angry, but she knew better than to try to fight back. It was obvious to her now that Richard married her for something. Something she dreaded to find out what it was. They didn't see her as a wife. Instead, they treated her like a servant. She would wash and clean and cook, and still she'll be subjected not to eat with them at the dinner. At first Richard tried to stay nice, but then after one night when he was having sex with her and she wasn't responding well, he beat her mercilessly and kicked her to the kitchen where she was subjected to sleep. Her phone was taken from her and her family was told that they traveled to the UK. Sometimes he would make her lie to her mom on call and tell them she's okay. Then he would threaten her not to dare try to leave the house. He said he would skin her alive if she tried. But deep down she knew he might actually do it. Every night before sleeping on the cold hard floor of the kitchen, she would cry and beg God to save her life. She felt like a caged animal waiting for her time to be slaughtered for sacrifice. Her mom and sister thought she was having the best life in the UK while she was fed scraps and made to do all the chores. Soon Richard even started coming home with women he slept with, and she would be the one to wash their clothes and clean the room afterwards. Elena started begging God for death. She was tired and exhausted. It was better for her to die. But then she thought of her family. Her best friend Charity, who was obviously still looking for evidence out there, and decided that no matter what she'd hold on and survive. Rita, Richard's mother, wasn't loud like Chike. Her wickedness was calm and cold. One day, while Elena was folding clothes in the laundry room, Ebel came in. Her voice was sharp like ice. "You're getting too comfortable," she said. "You're not part of this family. You're just a servant. By the way, didn't your people ask for so many items for your bride price? We own you now, and when the time comes you'll be useful to our cause," Rita said, before walking out on her. Elena stood still, afraid to move. She felt hot tears burn her cheeks. She was indeed sold. Now she was going to die. She didn't need Charity's evidence on Richard's secret to know that. Every day felt like slow torture. Not just in her body, but in her mind. She felt like a prisoner, and they were her jailers. At night, she cried silently, begging for a way to escape. One day, while she was cleaning the house, She stepped on a trapdoor in the store's floor that led down into a basement. Her curiosity took the better of her, and she immediately grabbed a touch and descended into the basement. She found what looked like a lab with an operation table and heart monitors, and many other medical operating tools used for operations. She couldn't believe her eyes. Immediately, she started looking around, opening drawers and checking till she found something that kept her rooted in spot. She was holding the key to her freedom. The long-awaited evidence. The answer to that strange feeling she was having before her wedding. She opened it and saw the photos of the first wife and those of 6 other women plus children. There were medical records, financial papers, and pictures of women and children. Each woman was beautiful. Each one had been married to Richard or adopted by him. Each one was dead. The cause of death said, unknown. But the papers told the real truth. These women and the children had their organs removed and sold. The documents showed the names, dates, bank accounts, and how much money was made from each sale. It also contained the contacts and names and photos of all the top owners of huge hospitals around the world, whom he regularly sold healthy organs to. These hospitals would then sell the organ to their rich clients. Richard's job and that of his family was to always find the right genetics needed for organ transplant and harvest it just when the buyers were ready. Elena's photo was next. She wanted to scream, but her voice froze with terror. Richard didn't marry because of love. He married for money, for organs. All these women had a rare body type, just like her. He picked his wives like someone choosing meat to sell. And his family, they found the women, prepared them for Richard, and when the time was right, they killed them and sold their organs for huge money. Elena was shaking as she stared at the papers. She had to escape. She had to expose Richard for the monster he truly was. She waited until Richard left on a business trip before she started executing her plans. But his siblings Anita and Eric became suspicious. They noticed a change in Elena. She wasn't acting scared anymore. They didn't know what she had found, but they knew something was wrong. So they started watching her closely. But Elena already had a plan. At night, while everyone slept, she quietly began putting some of the poison she found in the basement into their food. During the day, she acted like nothing had changed, smiling and quiet. But her mind was focused. Soon they started getting sick. First, it was just stomach pain. Then it became worse. They started vomiting, rolling on the floor, and crying in pain. She watched it all happen. And she didn't help them. When they finally died, Elena packed her things. She took the documents she had stolen from Richard's basement and walked out of the house like someone leaving hell behind. She went to a cheap motel far away, used a fake name, and turned off her phone's location. She planned to disappear with her family after alerting the police and media. But somehow he got to her. She woke up one day and decided to turn on her phone and call her best friend to tell her to come and meet her so they could plan, but she found several text messages from Richard instead. All threats. One of which said, "Joy and your mother are with me. Return the documents. Come back alone. You have 6 hours or they die." Elena dropped the phone. She was shaking. She couldn't believe he had already kidnapped them. What if she had not turned on her phone? Would he have really killed them at the end of 6 hours? How did he find her? She tried to call, but it didn't go through. Then she saw the live photo. Joy was gagged, tied to a chair. Her mother was unconscious and bloodied beside her. Terror gripped her. She called Charity repeatedly, but she didn't pick. She had no choice. So she booked a ride. The Uber driver didn't talk at first, but something about him looked familiar. He reminded her of someone. Then it clicked. "Excuse me, are you Charity's brother?" she finally asked. He looked at her in the mirror. "Yeah, I'm John. I thought you wouldn't recognize me. I've been looking for you. I had all the communications in the city pass through our radar. We got your signal when you booked a ride." Elena froze. She couldn't believe her luck. Because John was a special army police, the head of a secret investigation unit in the Nigerian army. Charity must have contacted him. John continued, "She sent me a message 2 days ago. Said Richard might kill you. Just that. She said she told you about her suspicion and then you became unreachable. That was before they attacked her though." "Attacked her? Is she all right? Is Charity all right?" Elena asked. She couldn't believe it. Her best friend. "Relax, Elena. Richard will be arrested tonight. I promise you, even if I don't have a strong reason yet." That was when she remembered the document. "I do. I have evidence. Right here." She brought out her bag and showed him. J.E. immediately stopped and started using the special scanning system on his car's dashboard to send the evidence electronically to his office. Immediately a warrant was sent back and he alerted his special units to converge on Richard's last known location. He turned into Richard's estate. "I'll drop you at the gate. Walk in with the documents like everything is fine. In 30 minutes, my team will come in. When you hear the signal, stay low." Elena's voice shook. "He has my mother and sister." "We know," John replied. "We saw them enter last night. Just stall for time. We'll get them." Richard's mansion appeared in front of her like a giant monster. Elena got out of the car. Her legs were shaking. She walked to the front door. It was open. Inside, the house was cold and quiet. Then she saw them, her mother and Joy, tied and gagged. Richard was standing near them. His mother stood behind him. She looked very angry. Her hate was evident. "You bitch. You killed my children." Rita screamed and attacked Elena. It took Richard's efforts to pry her free from Elena. Yet she was raging with anger. "You've ruined your family. I'm going to kill them in front of you, harvest their organs and sell them in front of you. Then I'll keep you alive long enough to go mad with sorrow, then I'll kill you and sell your organs too," Richard said with a wicked smile on his face. He snatched the evidence from her. Checked to see they were complete, then he pulled his gun out and aimed it at Elena's mother's head. Then boom. The front door burst open. "Down! Nigerian Army Special Forces!" John shouted. As his soldiers stormed in, dressed in full battle gear. Richard raised his gun, but John was faster. He shot Richard on his shoulder and his gun fell before jumping on him and dragged him to the floor. His mother screamed like a mad woman as soldiers grabbed her. It was all over in seconds. Elena ran to her mother and Joy, crying as she pulled the tape off their mouths and untied them. Her mother was weak. Joy whispered, "I knew you'd come." John stood over Richard, now in handcuffs and bleeding. "You've done enough," John said. "It's over. And you can forget about your rights. You won't have a fair trial." John commanded his men and they took Richard and his mum away before leading Elena and her family to their own house. 3 days later, Elena was still in shock when her phone beeped. It was a deposit of a sum of $5 million into a domiciliary account number opened with her name and phone number. She remembered that account. The only one who knew about it was Charity. But she was dead, right? Elena was too dumbfounded to think. Then another message came from John. It said, "That money is from Richard's money. I know it's illegal, but given what you went through, I say it's not enough. Use it well, Elena." Elena began to sob. This was too good to be true. She couldn't believe she survived where others died and now she was wealthy too. Then came a knock at the door. She opened it and gasped. It was Charity, bruised but alive. You didn't think I'd die that easily, did you? Charity smiled weakly. Elena hugged her tightly as tears rolled down her cheeks. Charity whispered, "They thought I was dead. But John saved me. I sent him everything. I couldn't let Richard hurt you." For the first time, Elena wasn't just surviving. She was truly free.